I met Joseph through a mutual friend named Mark Strand. I happen to like a lot of the poems that he wrote straight in English. And in fact, not long before he died, his last volume of poetry called So Forth had come out, and he asked me to read it with him in New York, which I did. And he told me a couple of secrets that are encapsulated in several of the poems. In fact, when I proofread Watermark, it was simply because I'm a native English speaker and I had a degree in English, for whatever that means. When you were in his presence, when he began to speak, you realize that this person had an extra, when a marcia in più, as the Italians said, he had a passing gear, because all of a sudden, his ability to synthesize, different aspects of an argument or different, bring threads together was amazing, which was out of the ordinary, and you noticed it. Joseph was very down to earth. I don't mean he was crude or vulgar, but he was, I guess what the Germans would describe as a mensch. He was open to everybody. He was not in the least bit grand. Joseph had no grand airs whatsoever. He was completely democratic when it came to meeting people on the street. He did not suffer fools gladly, but either by instinct or he probably avoided situations where he'd be surrounded by them. But I did see him at a couple of dinner parties when he was, not that when he was crossed, but when he was making a point, he was merciless to people that were supposedly at his level. I mean, he wouldn't pick on a student, but he would certainly come to grips with a pretentious professor or someone like that. So I've seen him, cut some people down in a very effective way without being nasty or crude, but just silencing them with a superior argument. And he didn't back down. I mean, if the situation arose where he thought something was out of order, he would correct it. When he first came here, he wasn't married. He was married only later on. I remember when I asked him, what is she like? He said, she's like a Pisanello medal, which is actually true. The person he was probably closest to was Girolamo Marcello, whom I introduced him to Girolamo. Girolamo never heard of Joseph Brodsky, but he was a literate, educated person, so he soon found out. But he offered him hospitality, and he had an elevator in his house, which made a big difference to Joseph. He never stayed in my house. He took a nap on the couch. I didn't have that much room, but we had many meals together. I mean, I fixed it or we went out. But when he met and became friendly with Girolamo, he had a palace available with an elevator, and made the last years of his life very comfortable. Because of his heart, he actually had trouble walking upstairs. So his favorite thing was to wander around town and take notes. He went to concerts and shows, but he liked to sit and make notes. I mean, and he particularly liked to sit on the Zat today, because in those days there was a lot of mercantile traffic, which doesn't exist any longer, but he liked to look at the ships go by. And his diet seemed to be black coffee, grappa, and endless cigarettes. And one of the reasons he liked the title Fondamenta degli Incurabili in Italian is that he felt as if, because of his heart condition, he was incurable. He was a champion of liberty in all its senses. I mean, he didn't like bullies. He didn't like suppression. He didn't like the Russian regime, which is how he ended up running afoul of it. And I think he would have been a champion of Ukrainian liberty at the moment, simply because they're victims of Russian aggression, which is an unmistakable fact. And he was a fighter. I mean, one of the things I admired about Joseph is that he'd been subjected to beating, imprisonment, torture, censorship, but he didn't bow down, and I think it would be the same today. But he was one of those people who'd actually suffered for his beliefs and kept on going. So he had that kind of courage, both physical and intellectual, and it made him a special kind of a person.